I would like to focus in my brief intervention on the relation between the coalition of the willing and NATO, since NATO, alongside with the European Union, is one of the main international organizations involved within this coalition, even if we know that the coalition was born with the precise purpose to continue ongoing despite the many lack of consensus within NATO to its political consensus on Ukraine. So I would like briefly to focus my intervention on three main words. The key words are flexibility, coherence, and integration. As far as flexibility is concerned, the difference here with NATO is that we are speaking of a subject that lacks of international legal personality. So, unlike NATO, this is not an international legal organization. I'm sorry if sometimes I speak in legal terms, but my PhD is in public international law. So, I would like to point out that the positive but both negative point at the same time is that the coalition of the willing is a flexible way to coordinate the diplomatic efforts with regard to Ukraine. The second point is the coherence, since even if we know that this coalition was born as an idea of a complementary action with regard to NATO, and also the idea to coordinate efforts in order to overcome the many limits and lack of consensus within NATO, it is very important, in my opinion, also to provide some practical suggestion to establish a kind of burden sharing and common commitment, also involving NATO as much as possible by taking into account that NATO will hold a summit, a traditional summit of heads of states and government in a couple of months. So it is very important to keep in mind that this must be a priority within the agenda of NATO in the next summit. And finally, for the term integration, because I see that while NATO as an alliance might have a consideration regarding the formal security guarantees, the coalition of the willing is important because it could form the basis for a kind of flexible and multi-layered security framework involving specific commitments from a subset of nations that, as we all know, go beyond the membership of NATO. It is very important to see how the discussion of the summit will explore these different levels of security. There are so many other things I would like to also suggest, but I know that I reached the 3 minutes time for speaking. So I'm happy to share with you my future consideration. I would stop myself by saying that what is very important for me at this very at the present moment is to reflect on the idea of establishing a kind of joint cyber security support framework, because cyber, even in the short and long-term run, is a fundamental threat to the stability of Ukraine and of all member states. So it is very member states of NATO, of course. So it is very much fundamental to be focused on this issue with regard also to future Russian in the next future. Thank you, Sabir, and thank you, Roger.